So you just joined a tech or a finance company, or you've been in the industry for several years, and you just can't figure out how to get ahead. You're creating all the beautiful apps, you're building good backends, you're doing all the small things that no one wants to do. Does that sound like you? Yeah, well, it definitely sounded like me. And if it does, stop now. You need to change what you're doing, or you're going to be stuck at the same level or position for a long time. And you can certainly stay there if you want to, but if you have aspirations of moving up the corporate ladder or potentially getting more money, you'll have to follow these things that I'm about to talk about. And you may want to ask what I know. Well, I've been in the industry for 10 years and I've been in the same position. However, I was able to get myself out when I realized that I was doing the wrong things. So in this video, I'm going to share the 5 things that's just brutally honest advice for the things that you should be doing in order to get ahead. So the first point that I want to touch is that you need to align your work with company initiatives. Just remember, you are part of a system, you're part of a company, and in order for you to get ahead, you need to make sure that the work that you're doing aligns with what the company wants. Just remember, they're paying you for your time in order for them to be profitable. So they're hiring you to do a certain job, and just make sure that you're doing your job correctly. Don't focus on small things that don't matter. If someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, can you handle this task?" Ask your manager, see how important it is. See if it aligns with the company initiatives. You have to make sure that your work is super valuable for the company. And in order for it to be valuable, it has to align with the things that they want. So one example that I can give you is that every company goes through these annual planning processes where managers and engineers and different stakeholders will come together and they'll think about what they want to do for the year. It may vary from company to company, but most companies do it this way. And you need to make sure that the projects that you're working on are part of that annual list. And if it's not part of that list, it's probably not going to matter. And I remember so many times when I would work on so many things, I was the one saying, "Yes, I'll take care of that. I'll do this," just thinking that it was going to get me visibility. And it didn't give me any visibility. So if there's a bug that needs to be squashed and it's affecting production, you better fix it. That is important. But if someone's asking you, "Hey, can you help me go through part of my task and, help me do something that is not really relevant to your goals and something that is aligned with the company initiatives," then I recommend you leave that aside. You tell whoever it is that, you just don't have time to do it, and you focus yourself on that. But aligning your work with company initiatives isn't enough. And you can do all the good work in the world, but if no one is recognizing it, then it really doesn't mean anything. And this is just how corporate works. You need to make sure, and this is the second point, that you build your network. And what I mean by that is that you find sponsors or people that are in higher up positions in order to recognize you and the work that you're doing. So if you're, number one, aligning your work with company initiatives, and 2, you're building your network and finding sponsors, then your name is going to come up when people start thinking about promotions or other opportunities that may arise at the company. So building your network means if you're the one that's like, with your headphones on the entire day, you're not talking to people. And I know with remote working environments, it may be hard to build networks, but reach out to people, set up a 30-minute meeting, catch up with them, see if your manager could connect you to some people at the top, maybe a managing director or a VP or something. See if they can connect you to people that are going to remember your name when it comes to promo time. I can tell you countless times that I found myself just putting my headphones out, grinding it out, staying up till ungodly hours, 1, 2 in the morning, just working, trying to crack a problem that I encountered and making sure that it was delivered, just to be passed up for a promotion or just to not really be visible to the core projects or to the people that were, the ones that manage promotions. And I highly recommend that you build your network. So in my experience, I found that I try to spend at least 1 to 2 hours a week building my network, whether it's reaching out to people I don't know or just ensuring that my network is solidified, meaning keeping in touch with the people that I've been able to connect with and setting up meetings that way. That has been invaluable and it's gotten me to get promotions year after year and to be in the position that I'm in now. So highly recommend you do that. All right, so I've mentioned two things so far, which is to align your work with company initiatives. Number two is build those connections, find sponsors, find people that are going to help you through your career. But those two things alone aren't enough because you also have to make sure that you're executing, that you're bringing the value to people. So for my third point, my biggest thing is you have to be a starter, not a doer. So don't let the work come to you. You want to be the person that initiates and that brings in fresh perspectives and ideas. So make sure that you're the person that says, hey, I identified a risk or there's a concern here with this project, and point it out. Make sure that people are aware of it because they're going to think of you as the one that's coming up with ideas. You're the initiative starter. You're the person that is a go-to for important tasks because you're the one that's going to be thinking about these things ahead of time. But if you're just a doer, if you're just a person that your manager needs to just assign you tasks and then consistently ask you, hey, is this task done? If it's done, okay, let's give you some more work. Then you may not be the one that's considered when they're thinking about other projects to give. So the biggest thing that I'll say is you need to be the one that's just initiating and not doing the work. And a quality topic here is that you want to point out the risks and concerns early. Be the one that is proactive. So proactive will get you super, super far. And one thing, there's a small little caveat to this, which is make sure that when you're pointing out risks and concerns that they're relevant to that they're aligned with the goals that the company is setting. So if you point out a risk and say, hey, this project may not get done, but it's a super important project that the company wants, then think about that carefully. Because if it's because you want to write beautiful code or you want the architecture to be perfect, you may need to make some trade-offs in order to deliver the project because the company really wants it. So make sure that you're balancing this out. So be proactive, make sure you're pointing out risks, but this one comes with a slight caveat. All right, so we talked about three things so far, and I'm going to reiterate them. The first one is that you want to align your goals with the company objectives. Two, you want to find a sponsor. You want your name to come up when big projects come up. You want your name to be at least in memory when leaders are meeting and thinking about who they want to promote and who they want to assign work to. And three, you want to be a starter and not a doer. But in order for all this to come together, this brings me to my fourth point, which is that you just need to do the hard work. And I've been in the industry for 10 years, and I can't tell you that doing the hard work is the most important thing. And that means that you have to deliver and deliver on time. So if you sign up for a particular project or you're given a project by your manager, you have to make sure that that project goes well. And if it's not going well, you need to be able to communicate those risks super early. And this is important in order to make sure that your manager is aware of what's going on and he could relay that information up to the senior management. So being a person that is doing the hard work is going to get recognized as long as you follow the first three things. But if you're just doing hard work and you're doing things that don't matter, none of it will be recognized. They'll just say like, yeah, this guy's great, and you will get more work to do. But when they come and think about promotions and stuff like that, it usually doesn't go like that. And, feel free to comment down below if you've had a different experience. At least in my experience, I've noticed that if it's not something that the company cares about, or if it's not something that's top of mind for them, then typically the promotions get hand it out to the other people that are focusing on that. And finally, one of the biggest things, and this is probably the most important, is you need to relax a little bit. It's so easy to get overwhelmed. It's very easy to complain and get upset and maybe even badmouth some colleagues. You do not, I mean, I repeat, you do not want to do that. It will get you fired. It will cause a ton of problems. So make sure that you are as relaxed as you can be and that you're able to breathe, you're able to take breaks when you need to. And if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, feel free to take some time off, take some PTO so you can de-stress. But please do not be that problematic person. No one likes it, and you will be passed up. And one of the things I've noticed is that, there are challenges to being a programmer. And some of the struggles are that we are thinking about different architecture decisions with senior engineers, and we may have, altercations, or we may not disagree. And one of the things that you want to do is, try to understand different points of view, try to come together. And if you feel like, different opinions aren't exactly lining up, try to remember the top mission, which is project delivery and making sure that this thing gets done. So there may be some trade-offs that you may just need to do, and things may not be perfect, but perfect is the enemy of done. So that's something to keep in mind as you go along. And the other thing is that programming is super hard. And I have a video that talks about, other skills that you need to develop as a software engineer, and I'll leave that up here. But one of the biggest things is that you need to take breaks, and you need to take breaks strategically, because sometimes I find myself super involved in the problem, and I'll stay up until 10, 11, 12 at night, and I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. It'll take over my mind. I'll even go to the gym and I'm like, wow, I'm really thinking about this thing. But it's when I take that break that I'm able to solve the problem. For some reason, I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not a psychologist in any way, but for some reason, just giving your brain that break and being able to come back to the problem, usually things just click. So make sure that you're taking breaks, that you relax a little bit. You're just, don't go into work with so much tension. That way you can make sure that your colleagues enjoy your presence, that your managers enjoy having you on their team, and that you're able to solve the hard problems easier. So if you want more tips, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting a bunch of stuff related to software engineering and my experiences. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.